We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. Hear now these words on love. First, from Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. I have decided to stick to love. Hate is too great a burden to bear.
Now, there is a final reason I think that Jesus says, love your enemies. It is this, that love has within it a redemptive power. And there is a power there that eventually transforms individuals. Just keep being friendly to that person. Just keep loving them. And they can't stand it too long. Oh, they may react in many ways in the beginning. They react with guilt feelings. Sometimes they'll hate you a little more at that transition period, but just keep loving them. And by the power of your love, they will break down under the load. That's love, you see. It is redemptive, and this is why Jesus says love. There's something about love that builds up and is creative. There is something about hate that tears down and is destructive. So love your enemies.
And these words on love from Eleanor Roosevelt. It takes courage to love. But pain through love is the purifying fire which those who love generously know. We all know people who are so much afraid of pain that they shut themselves up like clams in a shell, and giving out nothing, receive nothing, and therefore shrink until life is a mere living death. It takes courage to love.
Though I may speak with bravest fire and have the gift to all inspire, and have not love, my words are vain as sounding brass and hopeless gain. Though I may give all I possess, and striving so my love profess, but be not given by love within, the prophet soon turns strangely thin. Come, Spirit, come, our hearts control, our spirits long to be made whole. Let inward love guide every deed. By this we worship and are free. Let inward love guide every deed. By this we worship and are free.
Good morning. I'm Abby Sandling, and I'm on the Finance Committee, and here to say a few words about why I pledge and financially support Pullen. So, I opened my iPad last Sunday, right before 11 a.m., like I usually do on Sunday mornings. But I was holding my breath that the service would start, that I could watch it in real time. And sure enough, it started, and right on time. I settled in at my kitchen table, anticipating this service on All Saints' Day, which has been especially meaningful to me over my 18 years at Pullen, in the face of losing my husband Gary in 2013, my father John in 2011, and helping me to feel more connected to my mother and several close friends who died in the years before I became a Pullen member. And as the service got underway, Larry and some fellow choir members were singing a beautiful piece of music about remembering our saints, meaning family and friends at Pullen and in each of our individual lives, who are no longer with us physically, but sustain us through our remembering them often, but especially on days like All Saints' Day, and at times in our lives like this in 2020. Not only was the music beautiful, but it was accompanied by visually stunning video of our gorgeous Seiler garden with abundant Sasanqua camellias in full flower. Then, on the heels of those visual and auditory treats, came Nancy and Shalise having a deep conversation about their hopes and fears at this moment in history. With the election looming, racial justice tensions simmering, and the pandemic growing, their exchange gave voice to the anxieties and pain that so many people were feeling. But while acknowledging these realities, their message for us last week was a message of hope. And as the service ended, I felt myself relax, feel more at peace, and with more hope and faith for the future. I was reminded of a bracelet I had when I was 4 or 5. It was a charm bracelet with the charms symbolizing hope, faith, and charity, an anchor, a cross, and a heart. I remember even then feeling those words and their meanings were so special, giving me a feeling of comfort and safety. And I loved wearing that bracelet. So, coming back to Pullen, a big reason I am a member of Pullen and support Pullen with my money is that Pullen has been and is, to me, like that charm bracelet. Pullen, without fail, gives me the anchoring, the faith, and the hope I need for living my life. I know so many of you feel the same way, and that together we can ensure that Pullen's healthy financial standing will continue to provide hope, faith, and charity for us at Pullen, for our community, and for our world.
This morning, as we enter a time of prayer, we remember the following. We hold in our prayers John Doss and the loss of his father, Morris Gerlin Doss, who died on Thursday at the age of 94. We pray for Pam Knight, who fell through her attic on Wednesday. Although she is sore, she is back at home recovering with no major injuries. We pray for our partners at Amos and the people of Nicaragua, Guatemala, and Honduras as they recover from yet another hurricane. And we pray for racial justice, economic justice, and gender justice in our nation, in our state, and our community. We are thankful this morning that Gail Carson, who has been in treatment for stomach cancer, just received her most recent scans, and there is no evidence of cancer. We're also very thankful for record voter turnout in the midst of a pandemic, with more than 160 million people casting their vote. And we are very thankful for the BIPOC organizers who are working relentlessly in our community. Over loudspeakers, through the clapping and foot stomping, over hips and arms, we hear it. Be strong enough to walk through this night. There's a new day on the other side. You gotta have hope. Keep on. Hope That barely spark that we try to hold on to in our fear, in our doubt, over our anxiety, through our sadness, when we weep through our bedtimes. Be strong enough to walk through this night. Be strong like Harriet, Sojourner, Ida, Maya, Polly, Fanny Lou, Zora, Nina, Betty, Ella, Yolanda, Brianna, Dawn, Kamala. This great cloud of witnesses looking for that great day, working for that great day, living for that great day. Living like joy is right here, knowing dust can never be silent, knowing ashes will never be manna. Living like hope is the only answer. Hope that forever rebuke, filled with possibility and promise. From our ears into our fingers, tingling into our toes, swaying through our thighs and bumping its way around our hips until it happens. First in Atlanta, then in Detroit, followed by Brooklyn and the Bronx, moving on to Philadelphia, down to Washington, over to London, throughout Paris. Streets filled, bodies moving, hands clapping, feet stomping, audaciously, like day really is on the other side. Keeping on until dreams are no longer deferred. Building strength until the sun is actually seen. Courageous enough to believe hope and history can harmonize. This growing clarion, pulsating into every body, over loudspeakers, around arms and into hips, enticing your ears and asking only one question. Will you dance?
God, with open hearts, we invite your all-knowing, facade-piercing spirit to show us all the places where we still need to claim victory. Victory over personal prejudices, over unjust policies, and our love for the status quo. God, in this moment, show us the good that is still to be done. May our faith in the power at work in us be strengthened that we might believe truly believe that it is possible for good to overcome evil, for light to outshine the darkness, for your will to be done. May we grow in our commitment to the work that is ours to take up. With hearts open, may the wind of your Spirit fan spark into flame, and flame into blazing fire that will not be snuffed out. And may our passion be accompanied by humility, to let that same Spirit guide us and even radically adjust our course when it is necessary. God, in this moment, bring before us the good that we cannot afford to overlook. Lord, I don't want to win in politics and lose in humility. I don't want to win in politics and lose in showing mercy or lose in love. God, I realize that a large percentage of people in this country are deeply disappointed today. I pray for those who have sought their salvation in patriarchy and white supremacy, that they would not be discouraged to the point of nihilism. I pray rather that they might seek and find redemption in the good news of love and liberation that Jesus preached and embodied. And God, save us from reliance on systems that don't really serve any of us well. Increase our faith to believe that there is a more excellent way. Some call it commonwealth. Some call it life abundant. Some call it liberty and justice for all. Whatever we call it, God help us to live it. Amen.
Light has dawned on a weary world, and it is okay to rejoice and be glad and dance. And it is okay to praise the God of justice, love, with loud shouts of joy. I only wish this morning that our Pullen family could be together in this one place, Shalice, to lift our hymn of grateful praise. Like Shalice just prayed, I know that there are people that we know and love who are disappointed in the results of this presidential election. In fact, they may be part of this church family. For many of us, in the coming days, we will gather with these people we love to share in conversation, to share Thanksgiving and Christmas, and around our tables and in our Zoom calls, there may very well be some deafening silences and tough conversations about the future of our nation. It has been the reality, and it will continue to be the reality. We are a diverse people with different ideas and values. So although many of us are rejoicing and see a new hope for our nation, as Shalice prayed, we walk humbly into these urgent days. And by humbly, I don't mean diminishing the righteousness of justice and the continuing need to outright condemn the injustices that so blatantly have been displayed in our country over the centuries, and particularly these last 4 years. By humbly, I mean recognizing that justice, love is built into the fabric of the universe, and that we must continue to work on our own contributions to injustice, our privilege, and how that privilege feeds and sustains the very injustice we seek to end. Today, though, for some of us, this is a day of rejoicing, because we sense that we as a nation may be turning toward doing that work. Before noon yesterday, I received on my phone the first news alert that Joe Biden would be the 46th President of the United States, and that Kamala Harris would make history as the first woman, Black South Asian woman, to become the Vice President of the United States of America. I had not realized how long I had been holding my breath until I let out the deepest breath imaginable, finally releasing all that I was holding. My release and relief was that our country would now have new leadership that represents integrity and honesty and honor and courage. But that deepest breath that I took represented more than a Biden-Harris victory. It represented what I believe is a turning toward love. Not a cheap love, but a justice love, like we say here at Pullen. And when our nation turned toward love, even though we are but a small dot on the celestial map, the universe turned toward love. Because anywhere where love shows up, the world turns toward love. Never, never doubt love's momentum. But remember this about love. Sometimes love's momentum requires us to do things that might look foolish to those who don't understand love's momentum. Like turning the other cheek, losing life to find it, sharing all things in common and welcoming the prodigal home with open arms, feeding 5,000 with 5 fish and 2 loaves. Do these things anyway, for they represent love's momentum. I felt love's momentum in the first phone call I received just minutes after the news of the Biden-Harris victory. Still shocked from that election news, I was also shocked when I looked at the caller ID on my phone and saw that the call was coming in from our Georgian friend, Bishop Marcus Songalashvili. The texts were coming in so fast that I couldn't keep up with them, but he was the first phone call just minutes after the declaration. Thousands of miles away and embroiled in his own country's contentious election, he wanted to congratulate us as a nation on being a witness to the world that love is stronger than hate and that truth outlasts deceit. And he said to me, Nancy, what your country has done gives us hope, new hope in our country. It shifts the momentum toward love and justice. And then he said, with what I could hear, the biggest smile on his face and in his heart, he said, "We are so happy for you." Such grace in those words. For here is a man who has given his life to God's justice love, to equality for all. He has made sacrifice after sacrifice fighting for the freedom for his people. He has loved God with all his heart, mind, soul, and strength, and his neighbor as himself. And yet, for far too long, the people of his beloved country has suffered and is suffering under oppression. Today, as we gather, Marcus is standing courageously at a political rally in his own country, still fighting for justice and love as his country selects its next leader. And with minutes of the news in this country, he was the first phone call to say to me, "Congratulations. We are so happy for you and the United States. And we are praying that love's momentum will shift our way. Why do I tell you this? Because we must keep fighting for love's momentum. It's not just about us here in this country. It's not just about this one election. It's not just about our guy and gal winning. And yes, I said gal winning. Yes, there is new hope. And people in this country and all around the world will still be hurting come January 21st. While so many of you worked tirelessly for the outcome of our election, the work for our human family here in the United States and around the world continues. Love's momentum still needs our determination and our faithfulness, our sacrifice, our courage, our very all. The race, Shalice, to establish God's kingdom, God's commonwealth here on this earth as it is in heaven is not over. It continues. It continues. For our friends who are hungry and out of work in Southeast Raleigh and in the Republic of Georgia. For the thousands of people in this country who don't have access to good health insurance, and the thousands of people in Cuba who don't have enough food, in part because of our country's sanctions. For our trans and queer family all over the world whose lives are cut short by xenophobia. For black and brown bodies killed by prejudice and a system of policing that puts targets on their backs. For the citizens drinking tainted water still in Flint, Michigan, and the wildlife all across the globe whose environments are being devastated by global warming. The work and love's momentum must go on. Love's momentum is depending on us. On Thursday, I received a piece of mail here at the church. It was addressed simply to Pastor, Pullen Memorial Baptist Church. It was postmarked from Raleigh, the Research Triangle region, on November the 1st of 2020. It had no return address on it. The subject of the letter was this: any sense of urgency? ? It began by quoting several verses from Matthew 7 that talks about entering God's kingdom through the narrow gate. Then it read in part this: if you take Jesus at his word, and they had in parentheses, and I do, far too many members in good standing in your church do not have an inner, authentic soul relationship with Jesus that brings authentic salvation. They intellectually acknowledge Jesus as part of their wholesome church experience. They even have admiration for what they think he represents. For many, church membership is part of a well-balanced, planned public life. Altruistic, civic-minded, spiritually well-rounded. That's what it takes, right? Too many preachers who say they are called by God seem to go along with that. And so I am curious, at Pullen, do you take Jesus at his word? Anonymous, unsigned, no return address. Question: at Pullen, do you take Jesus at his word? Please allow me to publicly address this anonymous individual on your behalf. Yes, We, the people of Pullen Memorial Baptist Church, take Jesus at his word. We believe that we are to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, welcome the stranger, visit the sick and the prisoner. We take Jesus at his word to bring good news to the poor, to proclaim release to the captives, recovery of sight to the blind, and to let the oppressed go free. We take Jesus at his word. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God. Oh yes, we take Jesus at his word to love our neighbor as ourselves. We take Jesus at his word. There is neither Jew, nor Greek, nor Muslim, nor American, nor male, nor female, nor gay, nor straight, nor queer, nor trans, nor slave, nor free, no better than or less than, no Christian nor non-Christian. We are all one in God's kingdom. And so, yes, my friend Anonymous, there is a sense of urgency. An urgency to participate in love's momentum, to work for equality for all people, to make sure people can earn a living wage by fighting economic inequality, to protect people's religious freedoms, to denounce militarism and the war economy, to work for environmental justice, to stand out in the streets, to fight against police brutality toward black and brown bodies, to heal systemic racism in this country, to lift up the poor, to stand for the marginalized. There, my friend Anonymous, is a sense of urgency to prepare for God's arrival, to fill the valleys of inequity, to level off the hills of injustice, to smooth out the ruts of prejudice and xenophobia, and to clear out the rocks of American exceptionalism. There is, Anonymous, a sense of urgency to keep love's momentum moving forward. Never doubt love's momentum and its witness in the world. The kind of love that we believe here at Pullen requires doing justice in the streets and requires practicing kindness in our families and in our community. The kind of love that speaks power to truth. The kind of love that speaks truth to power. The kind of love that doesn't abide prejudice and inequality, and doesn't abide the love of power. The kind of love that almost 78 years ago was born in Scranton, Pennsylvania. The kind of love that last night walked out onto the world stage in a white suit and stiletto heels and took her rightful place in God's family. Never doubt God's justice love. For God's justice love, my friends, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. Love and love's momentum never ends. Never. Yesterday, we turned toward love. And now, may we have the determination and the courage in this great turning to lead with love's momentum in this land and in all lands. May it be so.
This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I went walking that little highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me the golden valleys. This land was made for you and me. I roamed and rambled and I followed my footsteps through the sparkling sands of a rough shining desert. And all around me a voice was sounding. This land was made for you and me. When the sun comes shining and I was strolling, the wheat fields waving and the dust clouds rolling, my voice was chanting as the fog was lifting. Oh, this land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. Oh, this land was made for you and me.
Stay right there, Mark. If you were not up dancing in that moment, Mark's going to play that again, the last course of that. And I want everybody up dancing. And Shalice, you can dance right there. Abby, you can dance where you are. Brian, Carla, our tech, Nathan, Brian, and Henry up in the balcony. I want everybody up dancing because today we rejoice in God's justice love and we need to dance. So let's go, Mark, one more time.
This land is your land, this land is my land. California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. Oh, this land was made for you and me. Oh, this land was made for you and me.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Again, I wish, my only wish is that we could all be together in this space. But I know that we are together in the spirit of this day and this worship and this time. I do want to draw attention to the flowers. I read this on the internet that said, Rosa set so Ruby could walk, so Kamala could run. Carla did the flowers today in honor and in gratitude for all the women who have sacrificed, who have stood strong, who have suffered, who have persevered, so that our country could elect its first woman vice president. So I just wanted to bring your attention to that and to be grateful for those lives that have led us to this day. for all the lives, past and present. Many, Abby reminded us, who we named last week as our saints, who have brought us to this moment in history and to this place. We offer our deepest gratitude. Hear this as our benediction. Light dawns on a weary world when eyes begin to see all people's dignity. Light dawns on a weary world. The promised day of justice comes. The trees shall clap their hands. The dry lands gush with springs. The hills and mountains shall break forth with singing. We shall go out in joy and be led forth in peace, as all the world in wonder echoes, Shalom. Peace, my friends, peace.